Hi friends, I had a completely different video that I was going to record today, but I need to talk about Sora.
OpenAI, that is the ChatGPT people, they made a TikTok clone where every video is AI.
Introducing iPhone Micro, the most compact.
You know that Sora has this feature?
Because as a former neuroscientist and former finance pro and also a current content creator, I feel like I have a very specific perspective on this, and I have some thoughts that I haven't heard people talking about, and there is so much to talk about. So the current version of Sora has been out for about a week now. So it's been long enough now that people have been able to try it and give their opinions on what the future of this is going to look like. People like CoffeeZilla, people like Casey Neistat. First of all, I have to say, I think there's multiple very distinct problems that people have with this. The first is that OpenAI, to create this Sora model, seems to have used an enormous amount of copyrighted IP, and they've used that copyrighted IP to make a tool that then generates more copyright infringement. So I personally 100% agree this just should not be legal. Like I'm actually like, I still do not understand how they are getting away with it. They have used copyright infringement to create a tool to create more copyright infringement, and somehow they're not getting sued, or maybe they are, I don't know, but they should definitely be sued. Like, I do not understand how this could be even remotely legal or permissible in our legal system. Like, it just does not make any sense to me. And of course, there are people who have already very amusingly used Sora to create some commentary on this copyright infringement. There's one video in particular that I just have to play for you because it's so funny.
People are even joking about the fact that Sam Altman is just stealing stuff from other people, generating, you know, a video of Sam Altman stealing from Studio Ghibli.
Man, that's so cool. Everything is free. Okay, I'm taking these.
Boy, dame that. Bring those back.
Whoa, gotta go.
Stop. Give them back.
Nope, too late.
Hey, come back here.
Free art, baby.
That's what OpenAI is doing. They're just going, everybody's stuff, that's ours now.
But anyway, you can hear all about all of the copyright type of stuff elsewhere. The thing that I'm not hearing is sort of where this goes from here. So first of all, I think that there's an interesting argument that Charlie has made in some of his, yes, I watch a ton of his videos. Like, a lot of people are calling themselves like prompt engineers or, you know, like AI artists when they make stuff with AI. And a lot of people have problems with that because obviously it is not what we think of as an artist. And the counter argument is that, well, this is just another tool to make art. It's another tool to make making art easier. But Charlie's argument has always been that, like, a pencil is a tool to draw a picture, but it doesn't draw the picture for you. So in that way, AI is not helping people create art. It's just helping them simulate art. And I think that's an interesting point, but I think that very ironically, Casey Neistat's video on this shows that, like, you can still feel the hand of the artist in these things that people are creating with AI. Because in Casey's video about Sora, he uses Sora, he puts himself into Sora in several different ways throughout his very short video about it that are very helpful to the narrative plot of the video, that really show you like what you could do with this tool to tell a very good story. And I thought it was awesome the way that he used it. And that's because he is such an artist that the way that he is using this AI is very poignant. When he has used it there with his own likeness, that is not slop. It's really good. And that's because he, the artist, was directing the AI to do something that was really cool, and he was integrating it in a way that was interesting.
Most importantly, you didn't need distribution. All it takes is a single click. Watch.
Just upload and you can reach the entire world.
So in the past, I've sort of seen where people like Charlie are coming from when they say that, like, this is not creating any more art, but I just don't actually know now. I really don't know now. I feel like the way that you use it could be artful, because I think that ironically, the way that Casey has used it demonstrates that it can be used in nuanced ways where there needed to be an artist behind it, directing it to do those things, to tell a story a certain way or to show something in a certain way.
What does it look like when the funnel is so big?
Over the funnel, look at this thing. It looks like somebody dropped a giant stainless steel funnel.
I can't see. Slop all over us.
There's so much just slop, and what does the bottom of the funnel become?
I don't know. So that's really interesting. That's the content creator part of me wondering if, like, if this could be something cool. Like I, for example, have written tons of fiction stuff. I'm under no illusion that it'll probably never be made into anything, it'll never probably be the show that I see in my head, But we're approaching a future where in a year or two, maybe even less than that, I could make my scripts into reality even though I'm not an animator. Like I could make an anime even though I'm not an animator. I could write my script, and then the barrier to create an actual anime out of it has become so small that I might be able to do it myself for like a couple $100, like a full-length anime. And yes, that would use previous animes as training material to create it. So there are so many weird ethical issues here. I think this is just like the future that we're in, though. But again, I do not think that models like this should have been legal. And the finance part of me is wondering, like, why didn't OpenAI just pay the creators? I mean, obviously a lot of them would have just said no, and that would have been their problem. But like, it's not like they couldn't have paid them. They're a massive company. They are so rich. They could have paid these creators for their work, or at least in their training models, when you know that like a Studio Ghibli film, for example, is being used heavily in that specific prompt generation. You could have compensated them for that. And yeah, they would still have said no, but like you could at least try to compensate the creators of the work. And they could have. They have so much money. They could have compensated people for their work, but they didn't. That's messed up. But the other super, super interesting thing that I haven't heard anyone else talk about is where we are going from here. What this like social aspect, I guess I should explain if no one's seen any of these videos. Sora has a social aspect to it. It's kind of like TikTok, but all of the videos were generated with Sora, generated with AI. The weird thing about this is, to me, it just feels like sort of the next step in a path that we've been on for a very, very long time, and something that I would almost call like the enslopification of the internet. So in Casey's video, he talks about all of these barriers that have been removed to making content. It used to be you had to be very rich, you had to be very lucky, you had to know the right people to create a movie. But then YouTube comes out, and suddenly anyone can upload a video that other people can see. Anyone with a camera can take a video, edit it together in free or cheap software, and just upload it. And you don't have to ask permission. You can just do it. That is a reduction of that barrier to someone creating content. But you still do have to edit it and all of that stuff. Like a human being still has to do that stuff. And of course, you have to have something real to record. So it's still based in the real world. It's not like, for a long time now, if there was a video, you knew that that video was real, right? Because you couldn't just very easily make a fabricated video. Even CGI hasn't been good enough that it will trick you every time, But then after YouTube, the barriers shrunk even more because, editing videos, I do a lot of it. It's very time consuming. It can be kind of difficult. There can be a learning curve, whatever. But TikTok came around and said, you know what? Or actually Vine was first, but then TikTok, TikTok is the one that made this a popular thing. You could make vertical videos now that were barely edited at all, maybe even not edited at all, and then just throw it up there. And then people will probably see it. And a lot of people got very famous making videos that were barely edited at all. Very, very little work had to go into your videos. But a lot of the content was not necessarily good, because when you have lower barriers to entry, the quality of the content, because there are so many people who can now make it, will overall decline. The average quality of the thing will decline. So on this spectrum, you start with like Hollywood level videos, way down until YouTube videos, and now anyone can make YouTube videos. You keep going, now you have TikToks, it's even lower quality, but now more people can participate. I feel like we're just still on that same trajectory. This AI social media, if you can even call it that, that's such a weird dystopian thing to call it. Is it social media? Okay, that's a whole other thing. I might need to think about that a little bit more, but maybe I should explain this way. I read a comment in one of these videos that like, hey, this isn't necessarily going to create more slop on the internet. Do you guys realize how much slop is already on the internet? Like if you go to Snapchat, it is the worst content. Easily 95% of the content is just totally worthless, if not more than that. Like there is already plenty of slop that people are creating without AI. Like it's not as if AI is now introducing slop. There's been slop for a while, but because we're on this sort of trajectory, I feel like there could be now more slop, and that's kind of what people are worried about. They're worried that instead of 95% slop, we are now going to have 99.9% slop, which could be true. But the good stuff is still going to rise to the top, because there's probably a ton of slop that is created that you just don't see because the algorithms are still sort of like sifting out the stuff that's the best. But, famously recently, there was a video on YouTube of like a pug saving a baby from a plane crash, and it was the most viewed video on YouTube that month. It was arguably just AI slop, but like people watched it. It only got big because people watched it and people liked it. So like, is it slop or is it just something that people wanted? Do people want slop? But one last point here, and I think this is kind of the weirdest one. So I have this conception in my mind that eventually where we are headed with all of this, AI, VR, augmented reality, all of this stuff is just a self-learning algorithm that will keep you on the platforms for longer. That is all that any of these companies want. They want you to stay on their platforms so they can show you more ads, so that you can buy their, premium service that gets rid of the ads, whatever. They just want your money. And the way that they get your money is to keep you on their platform. What's interesting is that I feel like TikTok was the first platform, probably, well, maybe not the first. YouTube did this to some extent, but TikTok did it very unabashedly. They said, you know what? All that matters here is time on platform. I don't care if the videos are good. I don't care if they're fulfilling. I don't care if they're educational. I don't care if they're correct. Just keep the user on the platform. Eyeballs on screen for as long as possible. That is the only goal. And so their algorithm pushed that objective alone. Just keep people addicted to the platform, keep them on it for as long as possible. That is what our algorithm is optimizing for, nothing else. And we're still doing that. But here's the thing. In the past, TikTok, YouTube, everyone had to pluck specific videos out from the stuff that people were actually creating and then show it to you to try to keep you on the platform for longer. They had to use stuff that people were already creating that just happened to keep you on the platform for longer. They searched for the things that would keep you on the platform and then they showed them to you, right? But what is so interesting and sort of so terrifying about this concept of the Sora social media is that currently, at least, it seems like people are still doing that. They are creating their own stuff to then share on Sora's, social media platform. And then Sora, presumably, I assume they have some kind of algorithm. I haven't used it yet. I kind of don't want to. Sora's algorithm, the social media algorithm, is going to pluck from the stuff that people already made, and then it's going to show you the stuff that it thinks you're going to like the most based on other people's interaction with it. Just like TikTok's algorithm, just like YouTube Shorts, just like Instagram, whatever. But because the social media platform is owned by an AI company and all of the stuff on it is made with AI, think about what that allows them to do. That allows them to create their own videos that optimize to keep you on the platform. And it allows them to train an AI to make videos that are more and more compelling, that keep you on the platform for longer and longer and longer. They now don't have to wait for creators to make stuff. They can make their own stuff that keeps you on the platform longer. They can use your interactions with these videos and other people's interactions with different videos to say, this is what keeps people on the platform longer. Let's make more. And let's make it more effective. And they can do that. They can iterate that millions of times a day with their own videos. They can find out what keeps people on the platform the longest. And they can tailor it to you. So we're in a situation where I feel like we could have, and I think this is totally possible. We could have platforms like this that are exclusively AI with no creators on them. Because all that you need is an AI to continually learn how to keep people on the platform longer. And notably, you're going to like it. They will make sure you like it. That's the point. They want to keep you on the platform. If you want stuff that looks like AI, then that's what it's going to give you. If you want stuff that doesn't look like AI, that's what it's going to give you. If you want sci-fi, that's what it's going to give you. If you want mostly people who look just like you, then they could literally make them look exactly like you. If you want videos of people speaking your language, then they will give you that. If you want to learn a language, they will give you that. They will give you whatever will keep you coming back to the platform, and they can create it themselves cheaply in seconds. Like they could keep you on a completely custom feed forever, for hours, and you're going to like it. Okay, when I say like it, I mean addictive. They will make it so that you will come back to it. It's not necessarily that they want you to be fulfilled by it. They don't want you to be fully satisfied by the content because otherwise you would not come back, right? So I think that is where this is going. I've always had this sort of conception that the end result of all of this AI stuff is just going to be custom created video, procedurally generated, algorithmically, AI generated video that is served to you based on your specific interests and what keeps you in the headset longer. And I think that we are very close to that now. I thought it was gonna take longer, but I think we'll be there in a year or two. And I don't know what that means for creators. I don't know what that means for all the people's IP that was used to create these things. I don't know what that means for the internet. I don't know what that means for all other social media platforms that aren't, integrating AI to this extent. If YouTube, for example, wants to keep up, they've already sort of, integrated VO in their shorts to some extent, to much controversy. And I kind of agree, but also they don't want to be left behind. So I kind of get it from a business perspective, because if they started optimizing to keep you on the platform with their own videos on Sora, I do not see how any other platform could possibly compete with that. Like, they're going to give you exactly what you want. They will create it custom for you, and it can do that for hours. It can do that for days. I am so scared. Honestly, I'm so scared to see where this could go. But we're not quite there yet. They're not doing this yet, I don't think. They're not creating their own videos and then training them to optimize for retention. But it's only a matter of time. It is only a matter of time. So anyway, that's what I think about Sora. Back to teaching you about money. Subscribe if you're into that. This is not my normal video, but I had to talk about it. Okay, bye.